Hey guys, Nascar Mobile for Day back again, and welcome back to another paint scheme review. And today's we're going to be looking at all the throwback schemes. We're going to be looking at trucks. We're going to be looking at Xfinity. We're also going to be looking at Cup. And after we're looking at Cup, we're gonna talk about like my top three favorite truck series throwbacks, then my top three Xfinity, and then my top three Cup. And I'm probably not gonna have like my top three worst. I'll probably just have like one that I just don't like or one that just wasn't creative enough. So that's something I'll probably do. But yeah, also before we begin this, I was supposed to make this yesterday, but I was pretty busy yesterday at school and stuff. I had to go pick up my father from the airport. It was just a whole thing. So yeah, so I'm just here today, and actually we had some more paint schemes revealed yesterday, so kind of glad I'm able to do this today. So yeah, let's go ahead and get it started. We already have a banger right here on the screen right now. You got Chris Wright's throwback to Ron Hornaday, and oh man, this one is just beautiful. It's basically just Kevin Harvick's scheme from what 2002, 2003. Just you just slapped it on a truck. So yeah, I really like this paint scheme. This definitely is probably going to be a top three. So definitely really like this one. Next up, you have Haley Deacon's throwback, and actually, this one might be my favorite. I don't know, because orange, black, and white, that's kind of a cool thing. It's actually like probably like my one of my favorite colors or something, or not colors, but probably a good combination. Also, this is Deacon. She's throwing it back to Ford GT's first win back in what, like 1966. So this one is definitely taking first place right now. So definitely like this one. So I can't wait to see this one tonight actually at 6:30. So I cannot wait to see this truck in action. Now we have Sheldon Creed's throwback, and this one's also a great looking throwback. You have Creed's throwback to Jason Leffler, and this truck is amazing. I also have like how they have the logo on the car look like exactly of how it was for Jason Leffler. I mean, it says GMS. It almost looks like a C, but it's definitely a G. Like if you look up here, there's Jason Leffler's truck, so you could definitely tell right there that it looks exactly like the truck. So yeah, the only thing missing is like the blue spoiler and stuff. But hey, it doesn't matter. Still a beautiful truck that Sheldon Creed's gonna be running tonight, and we could see this one in Victory Lane later tonight because Sheldon Creed is my pick to win tonight at Darlington. Right here, this was the best image I could find. This is Jordan Anderson's throwback to I think it was Larry McReynolds' first race as a crew chief, and this was what the car looked like. Of course, Jordan Anderson is going to do a throwback for Larry McReynolds because Jordan Anderson recently got engaged, and I don't know if they're married, but I think he recently got engaged like at the beginning of the season to Larry McReynolds' daughter. So that is pretty special to run and paint a throwback to Larry McReynolds' first race as a crew chief because we all know, even though Larry McReynolds, I don't know if he's won a championship before. I'm not sure. I'm not really a NASCAR historian right there. I don't really know that much about NASCAR history, but still, he was one of the best crew chiefs in NASCAR back then. So definitely a cool looking paint scheme right here. I wouldn't say it's like better than Haley Deegan's or Chris Wright, but it's definitely a good looking scheme. All right, next up we have, I believe, Spencer Davis's throwback to Darrell Waltrip, and this it looks exactly like it. It's just yeah, and it's also a Toyota, so it definitely looks really cool and stuff. If you actually look at the truck at the throwback scheme right here, it almost looks like it's a NASCAR heat or something. I don't know, but we don't need to dwell on that much. But still, this is a beautiful looking paint scheme right here, so definitely, I wouldn't say top, but hey, it still looks cool. Next up, you have Austin Hill's throwback to Mike Stefanik. I'm trying to say his name right, but yeah, throwing it back to him because he was recently inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, class of 2021 and stuff. So yeah, this is definitely a cool looking paint scheme. Um, I don't know how exactly they did it to put this kind of like late model looking cool looking car and put that on a stock truck in a NASCAR. That seemed pretty hard to do, but it still looks pretty cool. The main thing I really wish they would have done was probably, change the number. Other than that, it looks all right. Probably not the best, but it looks all right. Next up, we have Chandler Smith and his throwback to Safe Lights, like first like van or something. I don't know what exactly they're throwing back to. It looks all right. I mean, it's not really throwback to like a NASCAR or like a driver. It's just a throwback to like the sponsor and stuff. It looks all right. I mean, it's a different change color from like the all black with like the red and the white uh, stuff on the car. Now it's all white with the red and the black, so it looks all right, but definitely not the best. Now, this scheme definitely has to be in the top three because you have Derek Kraus throwing it back to Michael Waltrip. And oh man, you got the sponsor right, you got the number right here. Hopefully, you don't get fined from that. Teresa Earnhardt. Anyway, the scheme looks it's just very blue. Love the yellow on it and stuff. It's just a beautiful looking truck. I mean, you're taking a car like a stock cup car from what 2001 and you're just slapping it on a truck, so it still looks pretty decent and stuff, but definitely I think it's a top three scheme because this car is just significant, especially from the 2001 Daytona 500. And I don't know if they won the 2003 Daytona 500 in this exact scheme either, but who knows. Next up, you have Spencer Boyd in his paint scheme. This one is beautiful right here, I just have to say. I wouldn't say it's like a top three in my opinion, but it's a throwback to Jack Sprague, and it's just very accurate. Definitely a beautiful car. Nothing that much to say about it because I've only been a NASCAR fan for what 6 years, so I wouldn't really know about it much. But I'd say it's a really cool looking scheme. Oh, now here's the beauty right here. I may not know a lot about Jack Sprague, but I do know Glenwood. Zane Smith and his throwback to Glenwood. I really hate how I mean, I don't hate that they're making a throwback to this, but I just hated how they don't have a sponsor and stuff. I don't know what's been going on with GMS and sponsors recently because it just pains to see that, especially for Zane Smith. And he made the championship four last year and finished second to his teammates. So that really sucks that, they're having to make a throwback without a sponsor, but at least since they're making one, it's creative and it's going to Glenwood, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, definitely a cool looking scheme. I'm not sure if it's up there, but it probably is, probably top five or something. But yeah, cool looking scheme. Next up, we have Chase Purdy and his throwback to Davey Allison, and this one also looks great. I mean, I don't know which one to choose from because you have the gold and you have the red and stuff for Chase Purdy, and you have the black and a little bit of gold and the red for Zane Smith. So it's very hard to say, but Chase Purdy, this is definitely a top five scheme, hands down. Maybe even top 10. Well, top 10, top five, something like that. It's definitely top 10. Okay, and there's not really a lot of trucks running a throwback. Still, neat looking scheme from Chase Purdy. Next up, we have Timothy Peters, and his throwback to, I believe, is Bobby Hamilton. This one's probably not my favorite because I don't really know much about Bobby Hamilton, but hey, it's still a nice looking truck. I like the yellow and the blue. Yellow and blue definitely goes together. I mean, you could tell from the Napa colors and throwing a bit of red on the outline of the number. It definitely looks like a cool looking scheme. Guys, I think we found the winner. Maybe, maybe not, but this is just my opinion. This might be the winner, but I just got to think long and hard, once we're done with looking at all the schemes. But here is a beauty from the movie that came out in 2005, 6, maybe 2004. I don't know because I wasn't born when Talladega Nights came out. No, Talladega Nights came out in 2006, so I was definitely born. But I've only watched it about two, maybe three times. Still a good movie. It's a throwback to Ricky Bobby from Tyler Ankrum, and man, this scheme is just beautiful. I mean, you got you just, like the wonder right there. You got I don't know how you say Tyler Ankrum sponsor, but you got it there. Just the red, blue, and yellow flames, and the 26 looks exactly like it. Once again, I just have to give props to these designers. I mean, having to get a scheme from a car and put it on a truck it's not that easy, but it turns out great. That means that these designers are really skilled. So definitely is a top three, but you don't know if it's going to be first, second, or maybe even third. But yeah, definitely cool looking scheme by Tyler Ingram. Next up, we have Danny Bond in his throwback to Michael Waltrip as well, and this one also looks great. I mean, it's classic and stuff. The 30 looks nice. I mean, you got the car down here, and I'm pretty sure this is the car that wrecked at Bristol and just tear it apart and open. I don't know if if it's the exact scheme. I don't know because Michael Waltrip ran a lot of cars and stuff, so I don't know. But still, this is a beautiful looking scheme. I wouldn't say it's top five, definitely top 10 because it's like a neat looking throwback because of like the numbers. You could tell it's like an old fashioned like car from back in the day. Next up for Ryan Tricks, you have a throwback to Marquise Hot Tubs. I don't know exactly. I mean, it looks, I mean, to be honest, I don't know what the throwback is to exactly. I mean, I guess it's the Hot Tubs place, but still, this actually looks like a really nice retro truck. I think, like, out of the schemes I've seen so far, I'm thinking this might be the retro, like mostly retro, because I like retro. It like brings me back to like the 70s and 80s, like all those schemes. Those look pretty cool. So definitely a top 10 scheme for Ryan Truex. I'm probably gonna say that for everybody, but still, I really like this one because you got the blue with a bit of purple in it. It just looks neat, really neat, and very retro. Next up, you have Eric Darnell, who's made a return in the Truck Series, running the 45 truck, and he's throwing back to himself because I remember, I think I've seen a clip or something of him winning in this truck, and he beat Johnny Benson. I think it was like 2012 or something. I don't know exactly, but this car definitely looks really cool, or truck looks really cool. So it's a really cool looking scheme and stuff. So I wouldn't say it's like top five in my opinion. I mean, it looks all right, but really, when drivers throw it back to themselves, it can go either really good or probably really bad because we just like throwing it back to like the older drivers, like the drivers, in the before part of the sport or who were in the early part of the sport. So definitely a pretty cool looking scheme. Next up, we have Stuart Friesen and his throwback to Tim Richmond, and this one looks really amazing as well. Coming, look, you got the gold numbers. The gold numbers looks cool, and it's just a basic red because when you had paint schemes back then, you didn't have like a whole lot of design to it. You just had like bright, bright colors and stuff, and like a little dark number with it, or dark like other shade color with it. I don't know, but still, it's a pretty cool looking scheme. Probably not my favorite, but it's a nice touch, for Tim Richmond and stuff. So definitely cool looking scheme, and it's just still tragedy for what happened to him back then. So because I just heard about Tim Richmond, like I watched and read something about him about his problem and stuff. So it's definitely a cool looking paint scheme for him, and I'm glad they're just like bringing him back into our memory. And finally, the final paint scheme, or throwback paint scheme for the Truck Series. You have Timmy Hill's throwback, of course, and man, this one is retro. This one looks very retro. I think Tyler Reddick threw back to Kenny Aaron as well last season, and it looked cool. So but this one's off a truck. It really looks good. So I don't know exactly, but it just looks amazing. This one is retro, yet Ryan Truex's that one was retro, probably because of the photo, but I feel like this one is probably the most retro Truck Series throwback so far this season. So yeah, definitely this one looks cool. So all right, now we're gonna move on to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, then we're gonna move on to the Cup Series, then we'll rank our top three favorite Truck Xfinity Cup schemes and like one worst one because I don't want to make drivers or others feel so bad about it. Now we're on to the Xfinity Series, and to start off, we have another good one. You have Jeffrey Earnhardt throwing back to his uh great grandfather, or no, just his grandfather. I don't know how it works in the Earnhardt family, but Jeffrey Earnhardt is throwing back to another Earnhardt. He's throwing back to Dale Earnhardt, and we all remember that Dale Earnhardt scheme. With it was just basically an American flag, and it was just covered with the blue and the white stars and the red and white stripes. Beautiful car, definitely off to a good start for the NASCAR Xfinity Series throwbacks. Oh my gosh, bruh, this is definitely a top three. Yeah, Michael Annette's throwback to Darrell Waltrip's, Gatorade car. Oh man, you just cannot hate on this car. I mean, the only bad part about this car is just that the font isn't like the 88, but it is just Gatorade. They got Gatorade to do this. I mean, this is just hands down beautiful. Definitely top three, hands down from here on out. Next up, we have Myatt Snyder throwing back to his grandfather. I don't remember his name, but this one still looks pretty good. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of like red and gray like that. I mean, if you inverted it, put red down here, gray up here, it looked cool, but it just defeats the purpose of the throwback. So it looks all right. Not really a personal fan of it, but it still looks pretty decent. Now, this one is a beauty. If you're number six and either if it's trucks, Norm Benning, Xfinity, Ryan Vargas, or Cup, Ryan Newman, you have to throw back to that six car that ran that Valvoline scheme. Right here, we have Mark Martin's throwback from Ryan Vargas, and Ryan Vargas just, man, I like the guy. You can't hate him and stuff, so this is just going to make him even more popular with a beautiful throwback like this. Definitely up there, but I wouldn't say it's like top three for me because, to be honest, you've seen this car or throwback a bunch of times, so it's starting to get kind of old and stuff, but it still looks pretty cool. Oh my goodness, I'm just being thrown back into the past. Even though it's Back to the Future, guys, this is a Back to the Future throwback from Joe Graff Jr. And the movie came out, what, like 1985? And the movie's like 35 years. It's been 35 years since the release. Well, technically 36, because the movie came out like June, July. So probably it'll be like 36 years old, like next month or the month after. So this is a beautiful one. I like it, just the gray and stuff. Probably not my favorite, but hey, I'm just glad they're doing something to Back to the Future because that movie you just can't hate on it. Now, this one you can't hate either. You have Justin Allgaier throwing back to Dale Earnhardt's Tasmanian Devil car with and also I just want to point out it says good humor, like good humor ice cream. I also forgot to point this out. It was also like on the same thing for Chris Wright's throwback to Ron Hornaday and stuff. It's basically the same thing. It's just it said like good right, like Chris Wright's last name because they didn't want to say good wrench because that's not the sponsor. So that's pretty neat. And also you got the 7 right here. Hopefully they don't get fined for that. From Teresa Earnhardt, the Wicked Witch of the South, according to the iceberg. But still, this one is just definitely hell of a paint scheme right here. Probably up there in the top 3. We just got to get through the rest of these. But yeah, great scheme from Justin Allgaier, as he is also my pick to win in tomorrow's Darlington race for the Xfinity Series. Now you can't hate this one either. Oh, I'm sorry I couldn't get the full scale of the car, but you have Josh Berry throwing back to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s uh 2001 patriotic scheme with baseball and stuff. And instead of having a baseball player right here, it has Dale Jr. and Michael Waltrip, and this is just beautiful. 20 years later, still celebrating. Oh my goodness, you can't hate this, guys. This is definitely probably going to be in the top 3, maybe even top 5. I just don't know. It's just it looks all right to me, but it's just historical and stuff. So we'll just see. But this is definitely top 5. It is not going anywhere else. Top 5. But we'll see if it can make it into the top 3 because that has to be based off my opinion. Next up, you have Jeb Burton throwing back to his father. Also, like how the Burton brothers are going to be throwing back to their fathers, except only one of the schemes looks pretty good. Right here, you have Jeb Burton's scheme. It looks good. You got the stuff right here, but here's like a bit of a problem. You have like gray on the bottom. There's white. You have like a nice grass green. This is like lime green. The numbers look good, but then I don't know why they have a yellow number. I know it's like for Nutrient Ag Solutions and you're trying to like do it based off your colors. I mean, it's still pretty neat, but yeah, I'd say this one's pretty decent. It's okay to me. It's just not really exact in my opinion, but still pretty cool looking paint scheme from Jeb Burton. Now, this scheme has been a bit all over the place because if you really think about it, this is a throwback to Lee Filter's first race in NASCAR ever, and it was ran by Blake Cook because he ran the 11 car in the Xfinity Series before Justin Haley got there in what 2019, 2018, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, if you just look at it, it just looks like any other Lee Filter car or something. I wouldn't, guys, to be honest, I would not be surprised if this was the primary for whoever drives the 11 car next season in 2022, which I'm guessing is Kaz Gralla. That's my prediction. Silly season predictions, we'll get to those soon, people. Not right now. Still, this car it looks all right, but there's one car that I know I just don't like, and I don't think it deserves to be up there. But still, this one looks all right. I mean, there's just more blue to it. It's okay. Oh yes, here we go. Matt Jaskol as he is throwing back to Mike Skinner's 1991 Glidden car, and man, this one is just beautiful, colorful. Definitely a top 10 scheme. Not my favorite because I'm not really into like rainbow colors or stuff. I'm not. I like bright colors, but not like all that. Like this will definitely look cool. I just wish they were running it under the lights. I don't know if they are. I think they're supposed to run it like in the evening or something. But so this car looks very Very cool. Definitely a top 10 paint scheme and stuff, and just not really to say about it. It's just really cool, really colorful, really bright. Next up, you have Colby Howard, as he is also throwing back to his grandfather, Rodney Howard. And this is definitely a top 10 scheme. I don't know, guys. It just looks great. The white, and you got the nice 15. The 15 font looks cool. And I just like this. You got the red streak right here, you got the orange in the middle, you got the blue on the bottom. I don't know. It just looks cool in my opinion. This is just my personal opinion. It looks pretty cool. I mean, if you look down here, there's Rodney Howard's scheme. It also looks pretty cool, but man, I don't know. It just looks really good or really badass on a freaking Xfinity Series card. That is just my personal opinion. This one's definitely a top 10 scheme. Next up, the final one for the color cards, you got A. John Medinger throwing back to his first win in the NASCAR Cup Series at Watkins Glen in 2014. And really, I think it's pretty neat throwing it back to your first win. It seems pretty cool. And Hyperice is sponsoring it. Instead of having Scott's products right here, you have Hyperice products right here because, Hyperice has products and they're really expensive, more expensive than Scott's towels or something. It's funny. And then right here, you have like Ellsworth right here instead of Kingsford. Instead of Bush's beans, you have colleague and stuff. This is just really cool. Very, very neat and pretty. It's just very detailed and stuff. It's very detailed and stuff. I love this scheme. So yeah, I'm not. It's definitely a top 10. I'm not sure about top three, but definitely top 10. So pretty cool scheme. Almending is gonna run tomorrow. I'm not gonna get the full thing in here, but this one is also a beautiful scheme. You have JJ Yeley throwing it back to Matt Kenseth's Valvoline scheme, and we all know the Valvoline scheme's historic moment from Matt Kenseth, at Bristol in 2012 when he and Tony Stewart got into it in the race. So yeah, this one definitely looks really cool. So I really like this scheme. I mean, just the green. I mean, really that Valvoline scheme, it looked pretty cool. I mean, I feel like that if you had like a darker green, it looked pretty cool, but still it looks nice. The 17 is a bit off, okay? Well, it's Rick Ware's 17. It's not the 17 Matt Kenseth had or Roush had, so it's still a pretty decent scheme in my opinion. Next up, another beautiful scheme. You have Daniel Hamrick throwing it back to Red Farmer's old 97 car, and this one is beautiful as well. I mean, gold. Whenever you have a throwback weekend, you're going to have somebody who's going to run a throwback scheme that has gold and red in it, or even throw in a bit of white and black, of course. So it is very common to see a scheme that has gold in it at a NASCAR throwback weekend. So this one looks pretty cool for Dan Herrick. Not my favorite, but it still looks pretty decent. I'm not really a big fan of the design, but it just still looks pretty cool because it's gold and stuff, like a dirty gold, something like that. So it's a pretty cool scheme that Daniel Hemrick's gonna run tomorrow. I talked about how it's really cool how they slap a Cup Series scheme onto a truck, but it also looks cool when you have a truck scheme on a really car, just a car. I don't know what I was saying. I'm just stumbling over my words, but right here you have Brandon Jones's throwback to Todd Bodine, and I like it. The 19 looks like the 30, likes the font looks nice, and really some people don't really like this scheme. I feel like it looks better on a car than a truck. That's just my opinion, but yeah, I definitely like the scheme. Probably a top 10, maybe top 15 because I'm not really a big fan of like black and yellow or stuff, but it still looks really cool. Next up, you have Harrison Burton's throwback to Jeff Burton, and I just don't know where to start. I mean, the Dex imaging, I'm glad that they changed like the font of it, but other than that, that's it. Cause this car is just not really my favorite in my opinion. Because we've had a situation like this last year in the 20 car, but in the Cup Series where you had Eric Jones throwback to. One of Tony Stewart's old cars when Tony Stewart raced for Joe Gibbs Racing, and that car looked cool, but then they had red instead of orange. That's the same thing that they're having here with Dex Imaging. They're having red instead of like green orange-ish, I believe. A green and orange, something like that, I believe was on the original car. So they're kind of pulling the same thing Eric Jones and did last year. So uh it's just not really my cup of tea. This might actually be the worst one in the Xfinity series. So yeah. Next up, you have Alex LeBay, who's throwing it back to Kenny Wallace, and this also is a cool-looking paint scheme. I mean, you got the 36 with the same font of the 8, and it's just very accurate, very beautiful. It looks pretty cool. I'm not sure what the sponsor's supposed to be, but Red Dog Throwback, I don't know what that is, but still looks pretty cool. Probably not my top 10, but it's definitely a cool-looking scheme. I could only fit this part of the car on my screen. I couldn't fit the other part, as you can see from right here. But still, right here you have Kyle Weatherman's throwback to Richard Petty, and this one looks really cool. I mean, here, let me show a little bit of it on the front. Like right here, I don't know. This is just. It just looks really cool in my opinion. I really like this scheme. You know, the 4 and the 7 looks accurate and stuff. And, you know, just the petty blue and the orange or the reddish orange, something like that looks really cool as well. So yeah, definitely a top 10 scheme because I don't know, the petty blue and orange, you just can't hate those throwback schemes. I almost forgot this scheme. My apologies, but this one you just can't hate. You got this what is it? I believe it's a Kyle Petty throwback that Brandon I don't know how to say his last name, but still it's a really cool throwback. I mean, you got Snap Mobile dot shop and stuff. It's just you just can't hate it. Hot Wheels, I don't know how long Hot Wheels has been around, but it still continues today, and it just this this scheme is just beautiful. Top 10, definitely. So yeah, that's a pretty cool scheme that Brandon Godovic, I don't know how to say his last name. It's a pretty cool scheme that he's gonna run tomorrow. Next up, we have Jade Buford, and man, this scheme also looks cool. Throwing it back to Dan Gurney and stuff. This is a really cool looking paint scheme and stuff. So, yeah, I just can't wait to see this one too. I don't know, it just looks pretty cool to me, and it's also weird. How come this one has Hot Wheels and stuff, but not the one that Brandon's gonna throw back to? I don't know. I think they're gonna like probably switch it up or something. They probably should have switched it or something, but still. This one is a pretty cool looking throwback as well. So, yeah, nice looking scheme. Next up, we have Jeremy Clements in a beautiful throwback to the old UPS car that was ran by Dale Jarrett. And I really love how they have the ASE right there in the middle, and it's supposed to represent the UPS. You just can't hate it. The 51 looks nice. It's just a beautiful scheme. I like this one, but there's another one out there that catches other people's attentions. But still, this one looks pretty cool. Can't wait to see this one in tomorrow's race as well. Ty Gibbs, he will also be racing tomorrow. And man, this scheme also looks pretty cool. It's a throwback to Dale Jarrett once again when he drove the 18 car. So definitely a cool looking paint scheme right here. So I probably put it top 15. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I'm pretty sure Kyle Busch threw back to the scheme as well. I think it was like 2016, something like that. But still definitely a pretty cool looking scheme that Ty Gibbs will be running tomorrow. Next up, you have David Starr in his throwback to Richie Evans, I believe. I mean, it's basically the same Whataburger paint scheme and stuff. Sorry for that. It's the same Whataburger paint scheme, just they just changed the number font and stuff. So it still looks pretty cool. I mean, the Whataburger. I mean, I don't eat at Whataburger. I don't really like it there, but hey, the paint scheme, the orange and stuff, you just can't hate on it. So definitely a cool looking scheme. Next up, you have Timmy Hill throwing it back to Rusty Wallace. And this scheme, you also just can't hate it as well. You got the yellow and red flames, got the black, base paint, and the number font is accurate. Looks really cool and stuff. Like this is the Duraflame paint scheme, for charcoal. And man, this one, it just looks very accurate, looks very cool and stuff. So definitely a pretty cool looking scheme. Probably top 20, something like that. I don't know. We just have so many paint schemes in here. Now we have Brandon Brown also throwing it back to Dale Jarrett. This one is also a pretty cool looking paint scheme right here. I People say that this one was probably the best. And yeah, BM instead of what they had ACS for Jeremy Clemens, yeah, BMS in the middle for Brandon Brown. So this one's pretty cool. So and it's Brown. His last name is Brandon Brown. I mean, no, his last name is Brown, and it's a Brown scheme. So still, it looks pretty cool. I probably like the Jeremy Clements one better. I don't know. They both look equally pretty good. So yeah, this is a nice scheme Brandon Brown's gonna run tomorrow. Next up, you have Bailey Curry throwing it back to Bobby Allison's 1981 car and silver, orange, black. Can't hate it. Nothing else to say. Beautiful car. Can't wait to see this one tomorrow as well. I mean, just man, these schemes are just very, very accurate. Next up, BJ McLeod running the 90 car, throwing it back to Ken Schrader's Ultra Seal car. But ah man, this one you just can't hate as well. It's beautiful, beautiful. Also like how they have the Ken Schrader logo right here, the K, the Schrader, definitely pretty cool. Also got bucked up right here, so can't wait to see this one tomorrow as well. I don't know, I just like the red, white, and blue. You just can't hate it. Looks good. Next up with probably or arguably the most uh creative one, the most detailed car. You have Josh Williams throwing it back to Rusty Cruz and stuff. So this is a beautiful 92 car. And yeah, just how you have like the rust and stuff for Rusty. This is beautiful. That the 92 looks like it was spray painted on there. Definitely a beautiful car. Got the silver metallic rims and stuff. So this one's probably like number one on the most creative paint scheme. And next up, we have Riley Herbst, who's throwing it back to Tony Stewart, and I believe Carl Edwards threw back to Tony Stewart's scheme like this, or it was probably somebody else, but still, this one is another beautiful car and stuff. So I can't wait to see this one tomorrow as well. I don't know, because if you're just working Stewart House Racing, you just gotta throw back to Tony Stewart. You just got to. The only bad part about it is probably the Monster Energy black back here. I don't think it was on a Tony Stewart car before, definitely not. So still, it's a decent looking, it's a pretty cool looking scheme, definitely top 10. And then the final paint scheme of the Xfinity Series Throwback Weekend, you have Ryan Ellis throwing back to his grandfather as well. And this one, I can't really compare because I haven't seen the original one, but still, this one looks pretty cool. Very red. I like the bit of a design right here at the bottom and stuff, and it looks good on iRacing, so probably looks good in real life. So there we go. That concludes the Xfinity Series 1. That one was very long, so now we're going to move on to Cup. Then we're going to look at our top three for trucks, worst for trucks, top three for Xfinity, worst for Xfinity, top three Cup, and worst for Cup. So yeah, still a lot to talk about as we are concluding up this review. Now to start off with the Cup Series, first up we have Quinn Houff in his double zero car, and man, this one it looks pretty good. I definitely I'm so sorry, guys. I just started, and I don't think you could hear me because of the mic. My bad, my bad, my. Anyway, as I was saying, this is Quinn Houff's throwback to John Andretti, and it says right here, check it for Andretti. This is a beautiful looking paint scheme, the red and the white, and the forward slash of the double zero. Definitely a beautiful paint scheme. So can't wait to see this one on track, and also like the underglow underneath. Would they ever run the underglow at Darlington ever? Hopefully they can do that. It'd be looking really cool for throwback weekends. Next up is Austin Dillon and his throwback to Fireball Roberts, and this is probably so far right now, even though we've only been through two, one of the best throwbacks I've ever seen. Like you got the bronze gold in it with the black and the red number. It just looks beautiful, and oh man, you can't hate this. This is definitely a top 10 scheme. We'll see if he'll make it up to top three as we progress, but definitely a hell of a scheme that Dillon will be running on Sunday. Next up, we have Kyle Larson in his throwback to himself to his first go kart, and this one actually looks pretty cool. Reminds me of like being a kid or something because of like the font of it. You got the HendrickCars.com, the colors, the red, the blue, got the yellow and stuff. It looks very kid friendly and stuff, I'd have to say. And yeah, I just really like it. Definitely a top 15 scheme. It's a pretty cool looking car. I'm just surprised that they were able to get this on this go-kart scheme onto a cup car, which would be very hard to design and do. Next up, this Ryan Newman scheme is a throwback to Generator's national championship in like 1976. I don't know all about that. I mean, it looks okay, but I think the regular Kohler car looks better. It looks all right. Probably not my favorite, but still, it looks okay, I guess. Now, this one is a beauty. You have Corey LaJoy throwing it back to Alan Kowicki's Xerex car, and this is beautiful. And this one was just released yesterday, and oh man, this one is just beautiful. Got the red gradient to the yellow, gradient to the baby blue, gradient to the darker blue. It looks beautiful. It's a beautiful car. You can't hate it, guys. Xerox, I have no idea what that is. All I can think of right now is Zyzol, the freaking owl, or medicine, something like that. I don't know. But still, this car is a beauty. Definitely a top 5 scheme. Next up, you have Tyler Reddick and his throwback to Marty Robbins, and this one also looks cool. I like the pink and the yellow and stuff. The number font, it's not really my favorite and stuff, but the throwback card just looks really cool. Like, I like the stripe down the middle, got the yellow and the pink and stuff. RCR, I don't think they won throwback weekend, but they did a hell of a job at it. So, pretty cool scheme for Tyler Reddick. Of course, we all know Chase Elliott's throwback to Alan Kulwicki, Hooters car. We saw this one with Greg Biffle back in 2016. So this one is definitely a beautiful car. You can't hate it. I also like how, when Alan Kulwicki, when he won the championship, he was like by his car. He held the trophy up high. Hooters girls like right beside him and stuff, and somewhere on the car. Chase Elliott did the same thing with his championship that he just recently won, with Hooters girls all over by him and on his car. That is pretty cool and stuff. So yeah, definitely Chase Elliott's game's definitely a top 10 car because the 9 also looks good. So yeah, definitely cool car for Chase Elliott. This next throwback is Eric Amarilla. He's throwing it back to Mark Martin's 2000 Winn-Dixie car, and I'm glad that they were able to have Winn-Dixie on the side of the car. Still have Smithfield beside the Winn-Dixie one. This one just, I don't know. I mean, it's very colorful. It's very bright. You got the red, a bit of like a reddish pinkish with an orange and yellow and stuff because it's fire and stuff. When I look at this scheme, I just think of like a burning building. That's the first thing that comes to mind. It's just hot and stuff. It like burns your mouth or something. I don't know. I feel like you just eat it, just burns your mouth immediately. But it's still a pretty cool looking card. Glad Omarosa is back to Mark Martin. Definitely can't wait to see this one tomorrow, and hopefully it doesn't run bad. Of course, we all know this scheme, this Denny Hamlin throwback to Julius Johnson, or they like to call him Julius Slick Johnson. It's also a really good paint scheme. I really like it. The only downside of it is just that I wish they kind of like, uh, the 11 would have fixed that, but it still looks cool. It's like whenever Denny Hamlin throws back to like other drivers, the car has to be like red and white. I just don't know. That's just sport clips, I guess. But what I really hate is that they didn't throw back to Denny Hamlin's like old paint schemes, his old FedEx cars that look so good. The FedEx Ground, the FedEx Freight, FedEx whatever, FedEx Express. They just all look good. But we got this. It's okay. It looks pretty decent. At least the paint scheme doesn't look bad. So a bit of a downside, but I'm a bit neutral about this scheme. It still looks good though. Right here we have Ryan Blaney's throwback to himself to his 2010 late model car, and this one's also used to promote at Advanced Auto Parts. It looks really cool. I mean, I know it's a bit of a confusing throwback. You don't know of the main story behind it, but it still looks really cool. I don't know. I just like it. It just looks really nice. The black, you got the red and the white. I don't know. It just looks good. Because black, red, and white. Those are like the three colors that will always look good. It's just the design has to look good, and it looks pretty cool, pretty good. So yeah, I like this Blaney car. Next up, we have Chase Briscoe, and he is throwing it back to AJ Foyt. This one is pitch perfect for Chase Briscoe. Got the 14 on the side right here. The number font looks good. Got the red and the black, and just like one word right here, one word, highpoint.com. Beautiful scheme. I'm glad High Point was able to switch from the blue and the white to the black and red, so it looks really cool. This really shows you that sponsors are willing to go in and out or all out for throwback weekend. Like we saw that a lot in last year's throwback weekend, so definitely a cool scheme. Briscoe's going to be running on Sunday. Next up, James Davison will be throwing it back to Dick Johnson, and this one also looks good. The font looks perfect. I don't know, but it's just me. The gray and the white on the bottom looks good. I just also just really like all the words around here. You like the Greatest Generations Foundation. I mean, you're putting all of these for sponsorship and stuff. It looks really cool, and it's also part of the throwback car. So that's just my opinion. It just looks really cool. A bit of an underrated paint scheme or throwback scheme to Dick Johnson. So yeah, I really like this one. James Davison's gonna run on Sunday. Next up, you have Kyle Busch's throwback for M&M's celebrating 80 years and stuff. I mean, I remember when Kyle Busch threw back to like, or it wasn't really a throwback. He just had like a cool looking 75th anniversary card that they ran all year in 2016. And then in the All-Star race, he ran the 75 car just to celebrate that. So I wonder if Kyle Busch is going to do the same thing in the Texas All-Star race this year, probably run the 80 car. That'd be really cool if they did that. It's like a continuing tradition. It'd be really cool. But this one is just not really that creative and stuff. I mean, the 18 looks different and that's about it and stuff. I mean, it just makes the Brad Keselowski discount tire throwback from last year look smart because really I wasn't really a big fan of it at first, but then the discount tire thing grew on me because the paint scheme to me now looks really good. So I'm kind of glad Kazowski did that. So this one, if they keep the number font like this for the rest of the season, I really would not care and stuff. But to me, it's just that they weren't that creative enough. Next up, you have Martrix Jr.'s throwing back to Furniture Row Racing, which I just don't understand. How is this a throwback to Furniture Row Racing? Or Furniture Row, whatever. And you have the auto owners that, like, what? I just don't get it. It to me the scheme it looks cool, but don't go and tell me that this is a throwback to Furniture Row. What? Where? How is this a throwback to furniture? What? I'm sorry, but Joe Gibbs Racing is just not off to a good start. I mean, Bell doesn't have a throwback. Kyle Busch and Martrix Jr. throwbacks I mean Truex his throwback makes no sense. Kyle Busch is just lazy, and then what's Denny Hamlin? He has the best one because he always has the best one. I mean, this one, it's not really cool in my opinion, to be honest. So let's just move on. Now, this throwback over here is a classy chassis. This one is Joey Logano throwing back to Mario Andretti. I really love it because you have the white right here, the white circle, for the number to go inside, the white right here of where the sponsor's supposed to be. You got the gold numbers with red. Oh my goodness, guys, you just can't hate this. This one definitely a top 15, top 10 scheme. I really like this from Joey Logano. I can't wait to see this car more up front. But yeah, this one definitely one that you just cannot hate. Next up, you have a Bubba Wallace throwback to honor Wendell Scott, and this one is just beautiful as well for Wendell Scott. I love this how it says the mechanic. It was Wendell Scott. He worked on his cars. Root Insurance went all out for this. The blue, I love the orange outline of the number right there. It looks beautiful. The 23 is a bit off. Well, it's the regular 23. It's just that it's and stuff that they didn't make it look like the 34, but still this one looks cool and stuff. I really love it. And also this Toyota right here, it kind of looks like the Toyota in Rocket League. And also speaking of the Rocket League thing, it just released yesterday and I'm looking to buy the NASCAR pack today. Later tonight I'm gonna play it and stuff. Maybe in the future, when I get all my gaming stuff for that gaming channel I made, I could stream some Rocket League or make a few videos of Rocket League. We'll just see, but still, really awesome and dope scheme that Bubba Wallace is making, or that they made for Wendell Scott. This scheme right here, Valvoline said that they renewed with William Byron and they decided to go off with Kyle Larson. Now, since that announcement, Byron, they got a new Valvoline scheme or throwback for Neil Bonnet, which is very cool. The 24 looks nice. I mean, the Valvoline throwbacks, you just cannot mess them up. They're just so easy to make. They look really cool and stuff. Also, sad to hear about William Byron, about his mother. Just heard on Tuesday night that his mother had like brain cancer or something, which is like terminal 7, I believe. So prayers up for William Byron and his family. Hope his mother pulls through because Mother's Day is just this Sunday. So hopefully he can still celebrate Mother's Day with his mother. Hopefully nothing is that critical, but still beautiful paint scheme. Hopefully he wins on Sunday. I'd be rooting for him. I can't get the full car in here. They just make these pictures too big. But Michael McDowell's throwing it back to Bill Elliott, and I really love about this car. 34 looks like the 9. Got the FR8 auctions. I love how they made their font like this. It looks really cool. Got the gold rims and stuff. Once again, gold, red, and white, common in NASCAR throwback weekends and stuff. So really cool scheme that Michael McDowell will be running on Sunday. Next up, we have Ryan Preece and his throwback to Trent Owens' 2002 truck. And what I really love about this scheme is that in the Trent Owens truck, instead of like this yellow cheese, it's flames. But instead, they add cheese for Velveeta, which is very, very creative. So I'm going to give them an okay side with that. So it looks really cool. So yeah, really cool paint scheme that Ryan Preece is going to be running. Sadly, you can't say the same thing about his teammate. We'll talk about that once we get to Stenhouse. Once again, can't fit the whole thing in full picture, but still, this is Anthony Alfredo's throwback to Alan Kowicki's 1985 car. Beautiful, beautiful paint scheme right here for FR8 Auctions. Also sponsoring this car right here, and it says "We Care" in the middle. Beautiful car. The 38 looks beautiful. Just you just can't hate it. Props up to or kudos to Front Row Motorsports. They did a really good job for Throwback Weekend. This car right here, it isn't a throwback. It's a Mother's Day thing, since Mother's Day is this Sunday, May 9th. So Cole Custer is running a beautiful Mother's Day uh themed car, and I love it because you got like I believe some of this leather of a Mother's Day note right here. Got the silver in it, the black on top, got the roses and all the flowers. It's a beautiful car. Also, it's kind of a throwback to Margaret Haas, the wife of Gene Haas and stuff. So this is a beautiful car that we're having to see right here. So yeah, I don't know if she's the wife of Gene Haas or even or probably the mother of Gene Haas. I'm not sure, guys. I'm not really Fire Stewart Haas, so don't come after me, okay? Once again, I'm still a young NASCAR fan, but still, this is a beautiful one, and it just pays tributes to Margaret Haas from Stewart Haas Racing. So beautiful car that we're seeing right here. Can't wait to see this one on Sunday. Next up, Ross Chastain is throwing it back to Hut Strickland's 1993 McDonald's car. If you just really think about it, it's just the same McDonald's car that Ross Chastain has this year, except they don't have the arch in the back, and they only changed the 42. So if you just change those two things, it's a throwback and stuff. So it's still a pretty decent looking car. I mean, McDonald's is just red and stuff, red and yellow, so it looks okay to me. Still not really a top 10, probably top 20 scheme, maybe if they're lucky. I don't know. Now, this scheme over here is a beautiful one. Pays tribute to John Andretti. Beautiful scheme that he won in at Martinsville back in 1999. A tribute to John Andretti that Eric Jones will be running on Sunday. And Eric Jones just won the Pro Invitational race this past Wednesday, and so he could be a pretty good underdog to watch out for on Sunday. He's one of my underdogs, so watch out for him. It's still a beautiful scheme. Got the petty blue, the orange right there, got the red on top. Beautiful scheme. Can't hate on this. Definitely a top 15 scheme, in my opinion. The STP cars or the petty cars throwback schemes are just, you just can't hate them. I always say that, though. Okay, people, it's time for a rant. So you have this, 47 car, and you're thinking, oh, okay, looks cool. It's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That's a really cool looking 47 car. I mean, you got Kroger, basically the blue on the front. You got Tide and stuff at the back. If you just say it's just a regular paint scheme, I'll be okay with it. But if you go and tell me that this is a throwback to Ricky Craven, you're out of your mind. Because there's orange in the front, but there's blue in the front. This is not a throwback scheme. I don't know who designed this, but if you're trying to design this, I don't care if Kroger is supposed to do this, okay? This is Tide, okay? Look, this shouldn't have been a throwback. If Kroger decided, oh no, we're not okay with that, then just leave the car like this and don't call it a throwback. Just say it's a special scheme. Don't say that this is a throwback because this looks nothing like it, okay? This is supposed to be in the front, okay? Okay. There's supposed to be yellow right here and white right here. Are you serious right now? I mean, really, if this was a bit earlier in the video, I have more energy to say, but right now we're like towards the end of the video, and I'm a bit tired right now because I've been talking a lot. This video is going to be very long. I would not be surprised if it's an hour. I'm trying not to make it an hour, but still, I'm just saying this is just horrible. I don't know how this is not a throwback scheme. If they sell this at Lionel Racing, do not buy it. Okay, just do not buy it or something. If you do buy it, just throw it away because this is just humiliating to say that this is a throwback scheme. Pathetic, pathetic. But hey, at least Ryan Preece has a nice, cool looking cheese flames scheme, I guess. Next up, Alex Bowman's Ally car, his throwback to Greg Ives when Greg's Ives used to race. So I like it when these NASCAR drivers are paying tribute to their crew chief and stuff like they're giving it all to their crew chief because without a crew chief, I don't know how you're successful in NASCAR. So definitely without Greg Ives, Alex Bowman wouldn't most likely wouldn't be where he's at right now. So it's pretty cool that he's throwing it back to Greg Ives when he used to race. So cool looking car, nice teal looking blue, got the nice pink on the side right here, and then you also got the number, beautiful scheme. I'm pretty sure this one was released today. Cody Ware's throwing it back to Daryl Waltrip and stuff. This scheme looks really cool in my opinion because of nerd tech and stuff. Got the yellow shifting it or the gradient going down to like a green, then to like a turquoise, into like a baby blue or a light blue. But then here's the problem. If I go up here and switched over here, you can see the car. I mean, it doesn't look exactly like it, but it looks relatively close to it because you have like the gradient down here. So I'd say it slides. It's a pretty cool looking car. Also like the number font like right here that Cody Ware is going to be using. So it's going to look pretty cool. Next up, you got Josh Bilicki honoring Lenny Pond, and Lenny Pond, he's throwing it back to his Burger King car. And instead of Burger King, Josh Bilicki has Insurance King, which is really cool. The number font looks good, and this is my favorite part. Back here says "Best Darn Burger." Right here, "Best Darn Rates." That is creative. That is smart. That is just hilarious as crap. So definitely pretty cool that Josh Bilicki is going to be running this car and stuff. So can't wait for that. Also, right now the Truck Series green flag just flown. So right now I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap up this video right quick, and then I'm gonna go get back to the race and stuff. So I really shouldn't make this yesterday, but I don't think I would have had enough time to finish it. So still, this is a pretty cool car that Josh Bilicki is throwing back to. Next up, Justin Haley. Oh, I'm sorry, that was my Rick Allen voice. Justin Haley is throwing it back to who was it? I think it said it on the back of the car. Oh no, oh yeah, I remember. It's a throwback to Robert Presley. A beautiful car right here. Got like the circle of like the red and the yellow and stuff just going all around. It's a pretty car. It also says Happy Mother's Day on the front and stuff. So pretty cool car that uh Justin Haley's throwing back to on Sunday. We're almost done, everyone. Right now, we have BJ McLeod's throwback, that he's doing with Corvette parts, as they're throwing it back to Joe Weatherly's car back in 1983. This one is a nice looking car. It's kind of the same thing. You don't have like mostly red cars back then. In the NASCAR day back then, you just had a lot of red cars and stuff, and have a bit of black on it, a bit of white on it, maybe a bit of gold. That's basically how it is, but still a neat looking car. And now the final car of the day, we have Daniel Schwarz's 99 car, his Camping World car. And if you want to know what a throwback this is to, it's a throwback to Well, it's basically Camping World's 55th anniversary, I believe. And so they just like try to like jittered it up and stuff, and and like to a Mexican theme. You got the red, black, no, not the black, the red, green, and the yellow all over on this blue car. It looks very neat. And you got the yellow 99, and then the Camping World. It looks a bit different. It's a very cool theme. Not really a big throwback to somebody, but is a very cool theme. Throwing back to your sponsors is really cool. You just got to make the car look good. So definitely a cool looking car. Now let's move on to my top three favorite Truck Series trucks, and then the worst one that I've seen. Starting off at number three, we have Timmy Hill's throwback to Kenny Urban. This one is definitely, I don't know, retro. I just love retro, like throwing it back to like the 70s and the 80s. It looks really cool. So yeah, this one is definitely going to be at number three. A beautiful looking scheme that Timmy Hill's going to be running. Well, he's running it right now. Now, number two. Number two has to go to the Wonder Car, or the Luna car that Tyler Income's running. I don't know how to say his sponsor, but still pretty cool that they're throwing it back to Ricky Bobby from a movie. So really cool. Now to my favorite Truck Series throwback. It is Bam! Haley Deegan's throwback to Ford's GT win back in 1966. This one, I don't know, the orange, black, and the white, just I love it and stuff. It's just one of my favorites. I also like the black circle, got the number inside of it, looks really cool. It's the same thing like what Chase Briscoe would run in the Xfinity series. He also ran it he's running it this year as well. So pretty cool. So Haley Deegan, this one is my favorite throwback that I've seen in the truck series. Now, the truck that I did not like has to go to Austin Hill's Mike Stefanik throwback. I don't know. I just don't. It's kind of the same thing with Ryan Newman, how he was thrown back to what, like a cart, and they put it on a cart. It just didn't look right to me. I mean, the colors seem cool, but I just didn't really like it, and I don't really like this one as much either. It looks okay. It's just not really my personal favorite. Now let's move on to the Xfinity series. At number three, for Xfinity series, we have Kyle Weatherman's a throwback to Richard Petty. I don't know, like I said, the Petty Blue, you just cannot hate it. So definitely this one is a number three. At number two, we have number two, we have Colby Howard's throwback to his grandfather. I don't know, guys. I just really like this card. I don't know the design on that they have right here. It just looks really cool to me and stuff. It looks really good on the Xfinity car. I don't know, and the font looks good. It's just number two. It's just my personal opinion. Now, my favorite scheme from the Xfinity Series throwback, it is Michael Annett's throwback to Darrell Waltrip. This scheme I really love and stuff because I tried to mimic this scheme in NASCAR Heat 5, showing how much I really love it because I just like it so much and stuff. And I like Gatorade. I drink Gatorade, because I play soccer and stuff. So Gatorade, a great throwback that they have right here. Man, Michael Annett, these last two seasons has had great throwbacks. He had the Oreo one last season. Now they have Gatorade, so that's really cool. I wonder what surprise they'll have next year in 2022. Now the car that was the worst throwback scheme of 2021 in the Xfinity series is Harrison Burton's number 20 Dex Imaging car. I don't know, guys. I just did not like this scheme. I don't know what they were thinking because it looks all right, but it just does not. It's reminding me of the whole Eric Jones, Tony Stewart throwback thing from last year. So let's just leave it at that. At number three, we have Eric Jones throwback to John Andretti. I really love the scheme. Like I said, the STP cars, the blue and the orange, and a bit of red. You just cannot hate on it. And I love that they're throwing it back to John Andretti. So I really love this game. This one's at number three. Now for number two. Number two, in my opinion, has to go to Corey LaJoie's Xerox throwback for Alan Kawicki. Beautiful, beautiful, just beautiful car. You just cannot hate on it. It looks amazing and stuff. I'm glad that there are so many Alan Kawicki throwbacks. Well, if I say many, there's like what, two of them and stuff. But still, it looks really cool. Xerox is just a sponsor I've never heard of, but it looks really cool. So Corey LaJoie, that one is number two. Now for my favorite one of the 2021 NASCAR Goodyear 400 Throwback Weekend, it goes to Austin Dillon's number three throwback to Fireball Roberts. I don't know, guys. I just really love this scheme. The three looks good. Got the bronze gold with the black at the back and the red. It just goes so good. I don't know. I just really love this one. And Austin Dillon is an underdog going in there because he almost won it. He almost beat Kevin Harvick. If he would have had maybe one or another two laps, could have beaten Kevin Harvick last season. So we'll see what Austin Dillon can do next year. And yeah, that's going to conclude it. But before we go, I just want to talk about one thing that happened on Wednesday that I have not talked about yet. The next gen car. The next gen car, I saw the reveal. All right, now I'm just going to give a quick glimpse of it because I really got to go. So right here, you have the Toyota. It looks the same as last year, but at least it's on a next gen car. Hopefully we could see it maybe change to maybe a super next year. Or not super, but in the future, hopefully. Next up, we have the Chevy. The Chevy, beautiful. I love it and stuff. It looks a bit bigger, a bit fatter, a bit chunkier, and I also hate how it won't be 2026 will be the final year that they make the Camaro. It was going to be 2023, but they gave it another 3 years. So yeah, I'm really glad that Chevy Camaro will stick around for 3 more years longer, but I'm still gonna miss it. But it's a beautiful car, can't hate on it. And finally, guys, the Ford Mustang, that looks like a Mustang. That looks great. I wonder if they might change it to a Shelby one day. They might do that. But still, it's a beautiful car. You can't hate on it. It just catches my eye every time I just look at it, just dead in the face. But yeah, that's gonna conclude it for me, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Well, I'll see you guys Sunday for my Darlington review for the Southern 500. And yes, see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your throwback weekend. Peace out.